What's going on, everybody? It's just another day in the kitchen, back with another episode, and today's video takes us back 5 years for the release of Kanye West's album, Yeezy. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the now iconic merch, as well as exploring the idea of how Kanye was able to sell it out in 30 minutes, making over $500,000. Now, if you weren't around during the Wyoming era, I will say that it was legendary, and in this video, I'm also going to be showing off some of my own merch that I did pick up from this drop. And I will say my favorite part of this Wyoming era was definitely the Yeezy album listening party. When he debuted the album the day before, he actually invited everyone from friends, family, to bloggers, and even natives of Jackson Hole, Wyoming to come listen to it. It was a big turn up, and more importantly, everybody was buying merch left and right. From this Complex article back in 2018, they mentioned that Kanye was actually able to sell over $500,000 of merch in 30 minutes, and when you see pictures and images from the listening party and see everybody wearing the merch around him, it's no wonder that it sold out so quickly. Now, in addition to the actual listening party, the merch did, of course, release online at his website, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what it looked like on June 1st, 2018. Now, to start off, a lot of these prices are a little bit pricier, which was very traditional for Kanye, and this piece right here is considered the KKW or Kim Kardashian West inspired piece. Now, the retail is definitely steeper for a retail price of $145 before tax. Now, I did do my research, and they said that most of the pieces were shipping anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, and I also wanted to include these photos of both Kim and Kanye wearing pieces of the merch, just so you guys can get an idea of how it fit. And I will say from my own merch experience, it was definitely running a little bit larger in size, which is a trend that most artists have been doing, and I would say Kanye and Travis Scott have definitely led the wave. Now, personally, I say it in every video, I think it's super important for artists to actually wear their merch, and it definitely helps you connect with your own fans. Now, if you weren't able to get your hands on these pieces 5 years ago, they're not going to run you super expensive, as you'll see throughout the video. Some sizes, of course, will always be larger than others, but as you can see, you can even pick up some sizes on here for only $100 over retail, which I would say is definitely not so bad, given that this release was 5 whole years ago. And if you did end up picking up any pieces from this drop, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'd love to know if you still wear it and how it's holding up today. Now, next up, as part of the Wyoming merch, we've got this piece right here, this dope long sleeve, which does feature the anniversary on the back right there of the listening party, as well as that mountain range that we've been seeing on both the Yeezy album cover, as well as both just imagery when it comes to Wyoming. And I want to point out, as somebody that grew up in Florida, which has like no mountains or hills, I think Wyoming is definitely beautiful, so shout out to everybody that's gotten to experience that. The other thing I also wanted to point out is that the retail prices on these hoodies and most of these merch pieces are definitely consistent. $85 for a hoodie is a little bit steep, however, it's very consistent with what artists usually charge when it comes to merch drops. So given that it is Kanye related, I'm actually surprised it wasn't more expensive. Now, this piece right here is one of my more favorite ones, and it reminds me of the 90s with the influence of that highlighter yellow, as well as that popping green color. Now, this piece right here is a little bit harder to get your hands on nowadays, and it's going to cost you a little bit more money. If you can recall, we just saw that the retail price was $85, and the last size large just sold for $351, so you are going to have to shell out just a little bit more if you want to get your hands on this one. Now, coming up next, we've got my personal favorite pieces from the actual drop and the pieces that I actually own. This was definitely a wild buy for myself because I don't wear orange or anything like that, but after seeing Kanye wearing the actual pieces as well as all of the lit videos and actually watching the Yeezy live stream, personally, I was sold on it, and I think that it had the same effect on a lot of other fans. And this is again why I always stress the fact that it's so important for artists to be seen wearing their actual merch. Again, it's such an easy way to connect with your fans and supporters. Plus, if you actually like wearing it, you should wear it, in my opinion. And to really bring this merch review video together, I wanted to also include this review of one of the pieces that I picked up all the way back in 2018. I did speed up most of this video, but I want to show you guys especially the details and also the not so friendly details when you see the type of quality that it was actually printed on. And I have to say, although the sticker does say priority 3-day mail, it definitely took a lot longer from the day that I first purchased it. Now, it did come in a pretty secure box, as you guys can see, and the first thing that I did want to point out is the fact that this orange definitely pops along with the actual graphics on it. Whenever I do these merch review videos, I always do them outside to capture the natural lighting, so you guys can see right off the bat with no color correction or anything that this piece was super bright. Now, the most concerning thing to me, as you guys can see that I wanted to highlight immediately after opening the box, is the fact that the tag says Gildan. And for those of you that are not hip to the brand or just merch quality in general, especially a couple of years ago, the Gildan brand was printing on extremely poor quality when it comes to merch and apparel. So if you did end up picking up anything that was like a Gildan branded tee or hoodie or long sleeve, chances are it felt really cheap. It actually was really cheap, and the artist was kind of just making the most money that they could, given that it wasn't high quality or anything. Although I do want to point out that nowadays Gildan quality has improved, so shout out to them. Now, as I'm zooming in, I just want you guys to see the actual quality of the screen print on these Gildan pieces, and personally, I don't think it's that bad. I know that it could be a lot worse, and I will say from experience, most of these pieces that I did pick up were able to hold their own after a couple of washes. And I will go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer here shortly so you guys can see the quality of the screen print and graphic just a little bit better. The other thing I did want to point out again is that these references to Jackson Hole are basically where Kanye was staying at in Wyoming, and of course he did live there for several years. And one thing I have to reiterate throughout this video, if you couldn't already tell, is the fact that this shirt pops so much. Again, I'm not doing anything crazy, and there's an ant on the shirt right there. Shout out to Florida. But the quality of this, like the color contrast, is just actually insane. Now, like I mentioned, I did want to zoom in on the quality, and as you can see, it's not like the shirt bleeds through the graphic or anything, and personally, I think they did a really good job. I was able to wear this pretty sparingly, and overall, the quality is not so bad, and it's held up pretty good given that it's 5 years old. Now that we've seen the graphics and reviewed them on the front of this, let's go ahead and take a look at the one on the back. Again, my favorite thing is just how much this color pops and contrasts, and I love the use of this blue here. Again, zooming in, you can see that the graphic does sit on the tee quite nicely, and there's not any kind of bleed through, nor does it really look low quality. So despite the fact that this was printed on Gildan, which is pretty cheap, I think that the overall merch drop was pretty great. And if you agree in the comments, let me know. And I also want to point out these 3 Wyoming merch pieces that released months later in March of 2018. And if they look familiar in art style, it's because Kanye enlisted the help of Wes Lang, the artist he worked with to produce the legendary Yeezus era merch. And if you're not familiar with what that is, I'll go ahead and link it in the description here in the bio. I actually made a video about it, which was pretty well received, so make sure you guys check it out. Now, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you checking it out. Let me know what your favorite song is off of Yeezy, and mine is probably Ghost Town. As always, guys, thank you so much for cooking with the kitchen. Please stay safe out there, guys. It's lit. Straight up and peace. Make sure you guys like and subscribe too, or else.